started, can the folks out on AMS hear me? Is that possible?
We can hear you in the Tri-Cities.
Awesome. Perfect.
And Spokane too.
Okay. And do we have Seattle also out there?
Yeah, yes, Seattle can hear you.
Okay, and hopefully you can see the eREX form and not us. Is that hopefully true?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
That's desired. So I'm glad to hear that confirmation. Well, thank you guys for coming today. We're really excited about rolling out this new tool. What you are seeing on the screen now is an old tool that we're migrating. My name is Derek Brown. I work in the Office of Research. I know most everybody here, I think, for the most part. And you know, I have Sean Clabo here. He's one of our IT programmers. He's the main IT programmer. He actually is the guy who built the new. He converted this to what you're going to see. And so, technical questions. You know, if Sean's still around at some point, he can have a crack at answering those. I'm certainly able to answer a lot of the questions. And we're just really excited to launch this tool. If you are here today, which you all are, I want you guys to please know that this is being recorded. You guys aren't being recorded. The screen is being recorded for individuals who won't be able to make it to one of these sessions. So this one's going to be recorded, so any questions you ask will be recorded digitally. So please just keep that in mind. The plan is, if you've come to one of these trainings, which all of you now have, or will, we would like for you to please start using the form. We've started with the beta group. Some of them are in this room today. They've done several. We've done a lot of these eREXs now. We're still finding weird little things. Everybody's got their uniqueness. And so please, once you see where it's at, please feel free to start using the form. If you see any issues, let us know, Derek Brown, and then I'll work with our group to get these things fixed. And so there's actually, we're moving on to an online form, which means you'll have to log into My Research. It won't be a PDF. And there's several reasons we're changing this. One, it's working with Adobe is becoming more and more difficult. They change our license agreements and our security agreements and all these different things regularly, which is why we have to oftentimes make you guys use new versions of our form. That is one benefit of the online eREX is we will no longer have versions. If we need to make a change, we can just make the change. And so you won't have to save new templates or whatever you guys do with the old form. And so this is the old form. Hopefully most of you or all of you are used to the old form. Now we will go to the new form. I'm really excited about this. It's in My Research. If you go into myresearch.wsu.edu and click Grants, which is where you'll find the database and most of our other tools, then you'll see a new little sub-tab called eREX Forms. Now I have two tabs underneath that. I have the eREX Form Pool, which you guys won't have. That's when you guys submit an eREX to us. That's where they all sit and where we monitor the progress. But you'll have eREX forms. And this is where you'll be able to create a new eREX. You can do multiple. You'll have your whole list of the eREXs you're working on right here. And so I'll show you how this works. I'll just create a new eREX, click the button, and hopefully this looks pretty familiar. Of course, we've designed it so it's relatively similar to the PDF form. We have removed a few questions that are no longer needing to be tracked, so we've condensed it a little bit. We have reorganized it a little bit to make a little more sense, we believe. Some of the agency information was in a couple of different spots. That's now consolidated, and then some other things. And so I'll kind of run through these as we're filling out this form. At the top, I have two blue buttons. You'll only have one, but one is Load from Template. That's the one you'll have. We built a way for you guys to save templates, and I'll talk about that here in a little bit. The other is Fill with Sample Data, and that's just something Sean gave me. So when I want to easily just fill out the form so it's complete, you guys see everything, I can just click that button. It's some dummy data. So this is the new first page of the form. The first thing I want to mention are these tabs across the top in the gray box. Those, in the current form, as you fill out the form, it grows vertically. The new form grows in tabs across the top. So it's a little different structure. I've been told it's pretty similar to the NIH Assist module. We have Lorena Swain here from my office, and she's more familiar with that, and she can help answer questions today too. But the NIH Assist has moved to a tab format. We're trying to move towards that format, and it's more of the current technology. So the first thing I want to show you, the first change, I would say, here's the first page. This is pretty similar. Title, area, campus, abstract, sponsor information, but filling in a person's name. If you're going to add an investigator, let's say I'm going to do Lorena Swain. Put in a last name. There's only one Swain, so I'm going to select Swain. And she pre-fills not only with the WSU ID number, the email that we have from Active Directory, and the phone number from Active Directory. So hopefully that saves you guys having to look in a few different spots to find all this information. One of the things you can do, so now I have Lorena in as she's my lead PI. I want to add a co-PI, and I could have done this on the lead PI also, but you can also search by WSU ID number. That's mine. It puts you in there. So you can search by last name or WSU ID number in almost all of these spots. Now I put my number in there, it found me, but I didn't add. This is an important thing to remember, you have to add. You can't just put in Landine, Gail's my co-PI selector. Gotta remember to add Gail. So the add is important, the trash can and the add are important. Project title, area, college, campus, all of this is pretty much exactly the same from the current form. Abstract, sponsor information, an RFP. All that information is pretty much the same. You'll see save and continue. That's an important button. If you don't save and continue and you go click off the tab, you'll lose where you were at. If you save and continue, it'll save and it'll shoot you over to the next tab.
So if your Active Directory has the wrong phone number, can you fix that?
That's done via an HR mechanism, I believe. I'm not.
But you can't fix it on your phone.
No, yes, you can edit this. So Lorena Swain, I typed it in, it put in her email. Let's say she wanted to go to a different email address. Cool kid, whatever your email address is, I don't know. But you can edit that there before it gets going. If its phone number is incorrect, you can edit it.
Okay.
That's just pre-filled. But yeah, the email, that's a good question. The email address is one that people like to edit sometimes. I'm going to fill it with my sample data now, which changes everything a little bit. You'll notice I just all of a sudden have a bunch of new tabs because I filled it with sample data, including some yes questions that have resulted in a new tab. First one I want to show you is the cost share question from the front. If you click yes, it opens the tab. Now watch what happens in the gray box when I click no. I click no, appendix 1 goes away. So the cost sharing appendix is appendix 1. You click yes, it grows. So that's how the form grows. You'll see the tabs. Let me go over to deadline, which is the next tab. And it should be structured pretty similarly. We've done a couple different things. We've added the special comments box here. It was a little more applicable here. If you pick grants.gov, for example, a couple things have happened. One, it gives you an option to upload the grants.gov packet right there. And if you do, I'm just going to pick a dummy file. So let's say that's my grants.gov packet. When I go all the way over here to attachments at the end, which you typically get to at the end, that'll be there already. So you can upload that in either spot. Also, we usually ask, is this going to be submitted electronically? If so, you have to say, please provide some information. It's a grants.gov. We pre-filled that already for you. Proposal to be submitted via grants.gov. It's pretty obvious. You've attached the packet. You don't have to type that in every time anymore. Same thing with this NIH Assist, electronic assist. It's going to be submitted via Assist. We realize that you no longer have to answer that question. We pre-filled answered that for you. So any of the electronic ones are like that. Otherwise, and then the Assist also has the proposal packet open right there. They don't all, but the electronic ones do. If I didn't like that, I just want to delete that attachment. It's gone. It's gone from my attachments tab too. So they're connected. And there's several little questions that are connected like that on this REX file. So now let me go to the checklist. These are all those yes, no's. Is there new space? Is there, is F&A at a lower rate, etc. Typically, if you answer yes to these, you have to explain those. On the old form, it created a whole new page. Down page 2 opened up. Now the explanation is just right there under the question. Jump into something. F&A, this one's getting changed. If F&A is less than an established university rates, attached documentation. We're working on this right now. We'll have if you click yes on that, we'll have a little button where you can upload your attachment there also. But I gotta put something. Is this related to the grand challenges? If you click yes, it opens up a grand challenge appendix. You don't have to explain it there because you're going to explain it in the appendix, so we don't make you double answer that. And the rest of it, I believe, is all pretty similar. Nothing else has changed there. It's just the minor formatting of where you now answer the question. Approvals. It's built pretty much exactly the same as the Adobe form. Remember, if you're going to add a chair, that's me again. Remember to click add to list. You got to hit that add button. So that's important to remember. I'm just going to try to emphasize that. So let me at this point save and continue and start with the hypothetical. So let me go back to my eREX forms. And all the ones I'm working on, which is just this one, will be listed here. Now let's say I'm working with Susan, and because she works with a lot of different colleges, and she needs to add people to start working on this REX form. She's got it started. She wants folks, maybe Bev to help her. I can click on users, and this is where you add somebody to also work on your form. So Bev Rhodes, I click Rhodes, find the right Rhodes. Now, do I want Bev to have read-write access, or do I want Bev to just be able to see it? Because she just wants to keep an eye on it. That's her internal process. She doesn't necessarily need to edit it. But she can if you guys want her to. So I'll give her read-write access. And then when you add her, you have an option to do that, and it sends her an email letting her know you did that, or you did that, and because it's your guys' normal process, Bev doesn't care. She'll just go look at her list. She doesn't need the email. You have the option right there.
So this will show up on her list as soon as
And then as soon as you add her, if you go to the eREX Forms tab, it'll be on her list. I'm not going to do that right now because you don't need that email. But so there's this. Now let me actually go back in. So that's how you would add a user to, if you want your faculty member to go in and upload some documents, and then it's 2 days before the deadline, you don't want them to upload the documents or have access anymore, you can take them off. But all the units do things differently. Some of you guys have your faculty members involved. Some of you do it yourself and just show it to them at the end. You all do things differently. So we tried to build this so it is helpful to all of you.
Eric,
Yes.
if we add somebody with read-write access, can they submit?
Yes. They can submit. And so on some of our first beta tests, the faculty, they wanted the faculty member to go in and do some things, and they did. And then, but they didn't take them off of read-write access after a certain point. They submitted it, everything went fine, but then we got a call saying, the faculty member probably should have been, at some point, we don't want them messing with it, and I had to remind them that you have the power to take them off. So it's however you guys want to internally manage that process. If you guys are doing it all yourself, if you want to just give it to them and let them do it, you should be able to share the form.
So what about encounters where we have an internal college level review?
That is something that the Connors folks are working on right now, because the issue with Connors is Connors has a group inbox that they like these things to go to. So one of the changes, unfortunately, on the user process is it has to be tied to a network ID and a My Research login, and so maybe they need to add Carrie and Jeff and whoever to the form, but there's no current way to add a Connors.grants to the form. So that's something to keep in mind as you're working on this. And we'll just have to monitor and see if that's any sort of really pressing issue. Because it's in My Research, it's tied to Active Directory, it's got to be tied to an ID number typically. So the approvals, of course, where you list your chair and deans. I see Mary here, Mary Fry can go in, select, add to the list, and then you just save and continue. Then these are eREX contacts, who's the department contact, eREX contact, proposal contact. These are similar from the current form, should be no change there. Credit F&A, it's no different, really. It's exactly the same. You have your credit appendix where you can add people.
But we can't copy here?
I think we built a way, in my example.
It used to be copy all investigators.
Yeah, we created a way. The lead PI is pre-filled, and then I think there's a way. I think the co-Is are default added. You have to add them, but we display their information. We'll check that. Now, one of the bigger changes on the form is that we're really excited about is the cost share appendix section. What's happened on the current form, of course, you tell me it's an area commitment. You put in the comments, the engineering college is going to give $10,000. It goes around and gets approved. Sometimes we get those that don't necessarily have that specific information, although we should. And sometimes there's questions on the commitments. Now, if you pick an area college campus commitment, you get to actually pick the commitment. You can add multiple. Let's say Connors is going to give me $15,000 of cost share on this project, and a list. And also, the grad school is going to give me, or whoever it is, education is going to give me $15,000 cost sharing. And so all this now will be detailed and approved ahead of time and be much more clear. It's the same for the units. If you pick a department, you got to tell me which department, ag, weather, net, whatever the case may be, $5,000 or $50,000 institutional commitment, etc. So we're pretty excited about that change. That was one of the requests that came in. Is oftentimes there's confusion on the cost sharing appendix on who's actually committing what.
And so right now, we add those commitment letters where are we adding?
Those would be in the attachments page. That's a good point. Maybe I think that this is a section where we should have that, where you can add those commitment letters right there. So let me do that. I'll get that. That's a good comment. Are there any questions at this point on the form? We're hoping it's fairly intuitive, but I mean, we've modeled it after what you guys are pretty much used to. It's somewhat reorganized, but we hope it's not very difficult for you guys to just jump in and get at it.
Would you go back and just look at the credit and F&A just for a minute?
Yes.
And would you go down there? So when you picked Derek Brown, it defaulted all of that information in there. So
Yeah, well, I think this defaulted because I did my sample data. Let's see what happens. Let's just try a new one.
So would you default the particular person for me so I can just see?
Yeah. Let's just do a new test. I'll be the lead PI. Let me add Sean as a co-I.
And how did you make sure that second eREX has some different name so that it's in your
It's
list?
by it's listed by project title at this point, and maybe maybe that's a discussion we should have with this group. Is see, I didn't give my second one a title, so it's up there with no title. Is this enough information, project title and PI, that you guys feel comfortable keeping them straight? At least for now, try it out. So that's how you would do that. So let me go to my form. I've added Sean. Oh, that's not an ID number. Roads. Let's just add Bev real quick. And then we go to credit F&A. And the three people are there pre-filled. The areas and colleges aren't, because we don't have, centrally in the central system, there's not a great one-to-one tie between you and a department necessarily. But at least the investigators are pre-filled in there, and then I can go Office of Research, put my stuff in.
So if you have an investigator who has a split appointment, you have to put two lines in for them, obviously.
Yeah, you'd have to put in.
What happens? So you can override the default then?
Well, I mean, if
on
it's
area college card. No, I'm just saying, we have faculty members who have a split appointment between, say, Connors and engineering, and we need to put in both those lines.
Yeah,
but if it defaults
twice.
can I change those, or is it going to get mad at me?
No, you can pick whatever you want on the pull down. So if you had to do two, I would just add. See,
Add
it
it
defaulted Bev and just add it again.
Okay.
And then so Bev's college of education appointment and Bev's, Office of Research appointment.
Okay.
Just pick them both there.
So it doesn't default the department?
No, it does
You have
not.
to pick the
Yeah,
department.
you put your name and ID numbers in there.
Okay.
You gotta give the credit and department. So back to my test. Appendix 2, this is the compliance checklist, and this is where used to be a big million little squares, and you had to pick one. Which project is this? Now it's just a pull down. These are the compliance questions. If you say you're going to be doing export controls, of course the explanation is needed. We've also placed an export control decision tree attachment spot here, so you can upload that information. I'm going to click no on that. Appendix 3, Grand Challenges appendix. This came up because I said this was related to the Grand Challenge. This is exactly the same as the current form. Attachments, pretty standard. I don't think much has changed here other than some of the items, if you filled them in earlier, will pre-fill here. You still have your proposal, budget, during direct costs for admin, things like that. It's all the same here.
If you hit other attachments, let's say you had to add 3 other attachments, can you add more files? Because it used to be before that you could add more,
Yeah, you should
more and
be
more
able
and more
to.
other
No,
attachments.
yeah, you should be able to. Let me see here. I don't file. What's that?
Hit select file.
Oh, thanks, Sean. That's why Sean's here. So
Thank you,
just-
Sean.
you can
Okay,
just keep
so
adding
you just
files.
take that last one and just keep adding files.
So you just keep adding files. So see how your system likes my .exe I just put in there. We trash that. And so that's basically the form. Now the review and submit, I'm going to show you this will be pretty interesting to see how you guys like this. So review and submit.
Well, you haven't saved it yet.
Don't,
So let me ask.
you don't have to save it if you're going to do it all at once. Now if I was going to leave and take lunch and then come back later, I would want to save it.
Okay.
Now the review and submit is a 2-step process. The first one, you click on the tab and it does a very first rough check of the form. For example, cost sharing, I said yes, but I didn't list any amount. Let me click on it. Let me click on Appendix 1 right there. It takes me right to where the issue was. So that's kind of nice. So we put, athletics. Let me pick somebody.
Oh yeah, they got lots of
Let me
money.
pick somebody else. $50,000 for engineering. Add to list. So now if I go back to review and submit, that error will be gone. Now you guys may or may not like this error. This is in addition to the form.
I like
Attachments,
that one.
late submission explanation is required. Your submission is within 2 days of the proposal deadline. We count that as 18 business hours. Please provide an explanation of why this was not submitted prior to this requirement. So we ask for proposals 2 days in advance so we can get a full review. If we don't get that, somebody, you, the faculty member, will have to give an explanation here.
Can we
And
have a default that says faculty member was not organized?
you can,
That should be the autofill.
remember this is going to be recorded.
Choose that one.
I would say, keep a Word doc and copy paste. But this is new, so we'll see how this starts coming in. We haven't really examined any of the data yet. We've only, I don't think we've had very many rush rec forms in the new system.
This is a perfect way to have your PI go out and review and make him do it.
You can do that,
He or
yeah,
she
he or she,
himself,
that's right. And
because-
say, I got the Rex form pretty much completed, I need you to answer this final question.
Exactly.
And we'll see what they do. We might get garbage, we might not, we're not really sure what's gonna happen, but we wanted to ask that, to bring that. Now, Chris Keene, the new Vice President for Research, and the whole WSU Research Council are looking at these eREX deadlines pretty closely, so, they have grown, and so there's been discussion, we'll see what happens. Should there be a waiver process or something like that? We're not sure what's gonna happen. We're looking at other schools. I'm not sure if anything will happen, but it's being looked at, and so that's encouraging.
humiliation works.
The public shame list? We'll see. We've asked about 20 different universities, and none of them have a financial penalty. Only a few of them have a waiver process, and most of them will just grin and submit it. So Stanford's the only one that says no, that we've talked to out of 20 to 25 schools. So we won't go there, but there might be a waiver process. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure. So let me add my comment. I'm just going to be nice and say,
It wasn't my fault because.
not my fault, XXX, whatever it is, blah, 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 blah. Perform final validations. This is the second check. This is where we go and check your SFIs, your soft funded. The form is valid. You'll see the validation message. Now I can submit. Hopefully Kat in our office, who's now watching the Rex pool, will realize that is my test. I didn't give her a heads up. But I've marked it test when Sean's our PI. I feel pretty good that she'll recognize that. So now, if you want to see what happens on our end, if you go to the eREX form pool, that one I just submitted is in there as submitted. No, sorry, this is a screen you guys don't typically see. We do have one going around right now that's due on Monday. It's one of Gail's. It's to Texas Tech. And so, let me click on this screen, Gail, if you don't mind. But it looks like it's waiting for Diane Rathman to approve it this morning because Dan's out. And so this is a screen you're somewhat familiar with, I believe, where you can actually go in and see things.
So we won't need to get the emails anymore saying your re-rex
You
has
do
been
get
submitted.
the
If you want to
emails.
see where you are.
You do get the emails.
Oh, okay.
People told us they still want the emails. You don't have to rely on the emails. Now, one thing I want to mention on the emails, for those of you that are department administrators, which I think is pretty much everybody here, you used to get two links. You'd get a link that was for you to approve, and you'd get a link for you to go in there and look at the approvals, edit somebody's email address, maybe add somebody, do something with the participants. That now comes in one email. So it's just another link. You get the email, it says please approve. Here's the desktop link, please approve. Here's the mobile link if you prefer that. And then right below that, there's a new eREX approval queue or something like that link. You click on that and it'll take you in there somewhere you can still do those edits that you guys are used to.
Send that back to yourself.
Right, so, good point, Sean. So this one I submitted. Now I'm going to pretend like I'm Kat. I'm at ORSO. I got this REX form. I'm looking at it, and I see that something's wrong. Something's wrong. I got to send it back because something wasn't right. I can either, create the approvals, which is starting the process you guys are used to, or what I can do is return to creator with an explanation. You didn't attach a budget, or whatever it is, right? Hit OK. That now sends it back to the person that submitted it with an email that says your eREX has been returned to you. It shows the comment in the email. If I go back to my eREX forms, it's now back there, where I can go in and address the budget or whatever the issue may be. Attach my budget. Attach it. Now I can review and submit it again, perform bio-validation, submit the form, and now it goes back into the pool. What's that?
Drive Cat crazy.
Yeah. She's getting emails now, but that's okay. They're easy to delete. So we have the ability now to manage that in the system. We used to call you, and we might still call you. I'm not sure how Kat wants to do it. But the system is built in a way where everything can be managed internally in the system. It can be returned, it can be sent around. It's going to avoid a lot of the back and forth that maybe could be consolidated and taken out. Now, one of the things on the validations we put in is if I hit submit the form or validate the form on the SFIs, if somebody's going to expire in the next 5 or 10 days, we'll show you. Because if you submit it, it's not due for 20 days, and the eREX approvals get stuck somewhere, and then the SFI lapses, we got to get that SFI again. So it's just a heads up that let's try to get these approvals quickly so we can get this in, so we can submit it, so we can meet that SFI requirement, the 30-day requirement. Another thing that we built into this approval, if Diane, it's sitting on Diane to approve right now. If she'll approve it today pretty soon, I'm assuming. Let's say it was Mike Kessler was holding it for some reason, or maybe missed it in the email. If it sits for 2 days, again, that 18 business hours, the system will auto-generate a reminder notice. So you guys don't necessarily have to remind them, or we don't have to remind them. And then it will also put in a box to ask for an explanation of, can you please explain why you were holding up this proposal submission? So the system will do that as well.
Public humiliation for them too.
That's right. Now, one last thing I really want to mention, and then we can start asking questions, or I hear your guys' wish list items or things like that, is when we get an eREX and we have to reject it or terminate it, let's say somebody rejects it and maybe they shouldn't have. They hit the wrong button, or maybe they just needed clarification. They probably should have just asked somebody. Instead of having to start the form over and do all of that, again, inside of this pool, we can see their concern, we can address it, or we can have you address it. If it's something easy, we can address it really simple, or they made a mistake, we can restart it pretty easily in the system right where it was at. Otherwise, we'll return it to creator, start fresh. Now, if it's coming up against a deadline, we used to make you, terminate the eREX, we'll get it submitted, give us an ex post facto eREX, please put this number on it, so we can sync them up. Now, it'll be all one form. You don't have to do that. So we'll say we want to terminate it early, or whatever our terminology is these days, and accept form early, and then you'll get a notification saying we've accepted the form. We're going to submit the proposal, of course, by the deadline. But because it hit the deadline, we have to do this process, essentially the ex post facto process. But it just starts over and it's on the same form. You don't have to resubmit anything. The process will just start over, and you'll get a notification saying so. And then the question will pop up: why didn't this get approved within 2 days of the deadline? And the explanation will be necessary there. That's pretty much the demo of the form and the functionality. Are there any questions at this point? You'll have an option to print the form. Some of you guys like to print the form. There's a print button that prints it out in a vertical format. That's really, I think, about it. We've tried to build it so you guys can kind of hit the ground running. Templates, good. Thank you, Lorraine. I appreciate that. Let me explain the templates real quick. Let me fill with my sample data. Let's say you got a REX form and you're doing about 10 of these things. You got 10 proposals going to the same RFP. You don't want to have to do this 10 times. You can get your information in there. Let me do my review and submit. You don't have to do the review and submit. But let's say you have your form filled out however you like. At the bottom of this page is save as template. You can call it whatever you like. This is my USDA 2016 summer template. Save. Boom. Template saved. Now if I open a form or any form and I want to load from a template, my saved templates are on this list. I can load my template. Now on templates, there are a few fields that we purposely made not save. For example, deadline does not save. Conflict of interest, yes or no, does not save. You have to answer that every time. Cost sharing does not save, and export controls. So there's a few fields. And the attachments, yeah. And I think the RFP attachment might be saved, might stay saved. We'll have to check. No attachments. No attachments. So if you have a template, that's how you can save a template. You can name it whatever you'd like. You can go to your REX forms, start a new REX form, load from any of your templates that you like, and it's all right there.
Hey, Derek, I got a question.
Yeah.
From Tri-Cities. Is this, let's say we share the proposal, you and I, that you have read-write access. Can we both be in it simultaneously editing the document, or do we have to have some sort of control?
No, you can be in there, and if I'm in there, Christopher, and if you're in there right now, and you start typing things, I'll get that green box at the top that says, as things are happening, it says things have saved, or I'll get a notification saying you have updated the form as it's happening. So you'll see what I'm doing, and I would see what you'd at least get notified that changes are happening.
Duplicate the tab.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
Click on the tab and duplicate it. Click on the tab. Up
Right.
top, yeah. Now, make it so you can see both of them at the same time.
Demanding it. So I'm trying to get this, Christopher, so you can see how this works. Let me see here.
Is that the same form?
That's the same one.
No,
Yeah, I'm not ready for that.
Go to the other
Sorry.
tab. No, go to the second tab. There you go. That one.
that one.
There we go.
So
So
now-
now if I start messing around. Form changes made by Derek Brown right there at the top. You'll see it in blue. I changed the deadline date. And so you'll at least get a notification that you know something has changed, and then you can contact me if you have a question. But yeah, two people can be working on the same form at the same time, essentially. Yes. Are there any other questions or things you'd like to see?
Derek, does
Yeah.
the approval page look the same for approvers in my research when they go in?
Yeah, it is. It looks almost identical. I don't even think you've changed the actual approving screen much itself.
It's a new screen, but
It's
good.
it looks the same as the old screen. Yeah. Yes.
How does it work when there is a resubmission of the grant?
Well, if you save a template, if you wanted to save it, you can go in there. You would have to pretty much start fresh, I believe. We wouldn't necessarily be able to go into an old form and just refresh.
How many templates can you have? Is there a limit?
No limit. Until you tell me that you did 501 and you broke our machine.
Hard? That would be me.
As far as we know, there should be no limit. Yeah, you should be able to go for it and save as many templates as you need.
If you want to share a template, the only way right now is grant that other person permission to the form, load it, and then they can go in and save it as their template.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's a little trick. Yeah, you want to send one to somebody, just give them access and they can go in there and save it themselves as their template. If there's no other questions, please start using the form. The timeline is, I got one final training on Monday. Then we'll do some more trainings in the fall, I'm sure. But one final summer training on Monday. We're going to open this thing up next week to everybody. Hopefully, people will either watch the video that we recorded today or have come to one of these trainings that are going to be heavy users. But like I said, we try to build it in a way to where it's fairly intuitive and it shouldn't be too much of a problem for you guys. Now, as you're playing with it and doing Rex forms and things aren't happening like we used to, or you have something that you think could be an easy fix or a cool little update, please let us know. We'll certainly get those in there. The beta group's done a great job of finding those things, but there's always uniqueness. So,
Another question from Tri-Cities.
Yeah, yes, Chris. Yeah.
When will the Adobe version go away?
Yeah, the August 16th is the date.
Okay. We have
That's a Tuesday.
we just have a number of ex post factos that are piling up, so we would need to get those through before that date, obviously.
Well, maybe the ex post factos will have to be redone.
Yeah, who knows?
We'll see. You know, the ones that are pending, sitting in the system, we'll allow. I'm sure we'll allow to come to completion in the current system.
Okay.
Just won't be able to actually hit submit on anything new. And so, yeah, at the end of this month, we're going to push this thing live. We'll see. I'm sure we'll be distributing a lot of information. If there's a big demand for more trainings, of course, we'll put them out there. I'm happy to talk to anybody if you want to send them to my office. I can show them one-on-one. You can send them Monday. There's another one here in the same room at noon. Tell them to sign up. Otherwise, please, you start using the form. Again, it's under the grants tab. It's just eREX forms. You should have it. If you don't have it, let me know. And please start going for it. Thanks for coming today.
All right, great job.
Thanks, Eric. That's good.